Well, this is pretty interesting what I found this morning regarding Larry Correia's Monster Hunter International and a AI version of this that kind of does it just as well or maybe better than some of the Monster Hunter International installments. Now, the reason this is interesting is because Larry Correia is actually going to Arc Press, kind of abandoning Baen Books for the next couple of years, who has been the publisher that has been making him a lot of money. And he's doing basically Monster Hunter International, only not. So this is an interesting question. Who can write a Monster Hunter International imitation better at this point? AI or Larry Correia himself. So let's get into this news in just a moment. Please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things science fiction and fantasy, my friends. And I'm a science fiction writer myself, and I have a bunch of books for you. Sign up for my newsletter in the description below. I give you a fantasy book, a science fiction book, and a full graphic novel of my superhero series, all for free, just for signing up. I have a beautiful space opera trilogy that I'm going to be crowdfunding towards the end of the month. I'm trying to get the book done first. And then I want to get that into your hands, and I don't want to lose you. So this is going to be some fun stuff. We are doing Star Trek really better than Star Trek is, just like AI is going to do Larry better than Larry. I'm going to show you in a second. And it's a lot of fun. We are doing some beautiful stuff. We're making science fiction fun again. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of this movement that's growing so fast. This is my newsletter. It's in the description below. I've also got my Amazon links if you want to check out my books now. We got Audible books and everything. We are just cooking along and a lot of fun. So this is a lot of fun. This came out a couple days ago that Larry Correia announced he'll be going to Kickstarter for his new Arc Press book. Now, this has caused a lot of drama this year as Arc Press announced that they are a new press coming out there kind of out of the blue, and they said Larry Correia is like their main primary author who's going to be kind of their flagship guy. It was like, hey, this is interesting because he's the flagship guy for Baen Books. So what's happening with this front? You start to look into it and you start to talk about it, and it turns out Larry's moving from Baen Books, of course, doing this Arc Press deal. He's also got one with Aethon Books for a lit RPG that's going to probably go gangbusters as well. And he also says he's doing an independent book that he's going to be self-publishing himself. So he's diversifying out of Baen Books, which he has stated as well. And he acts like, oh, that's fine, normal. But here's the thing. In the background, from what I understand, Baen Books is having a lot of problems because they're stuck in that traditional trad pub sort of mindset that is, dated from like 15 years ago. And with that, the business models really changed for everybody who's actually doing well on Amazon and the like. And Correia's been missing out on this a little bit. He's probably seen this on the Amazon algorithm stuff, as well as with the Kickstarter with Brandon Sanderson having made millions off of things. It's like, why aren't we moving to this model with like Monster Hunter and the like? It's because Baen Books just puts their books into Barnes & Noble and then moves on, right? And so it is a 15-year-old business model that really hasn't updated for the current environment. And Correia sees the writing on the wall. He's a smart guy. He knows that they're having problems, that they're going under, and that they're basically funding the rest of their operation based on his book sales. So it is something where it's like, all of their books are not making money, except for Correia. There's a couple others like David Weber and John Ringo who do as well. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff's not selling. We've covered that here on the channel as well, just showing some of these new releases that they put out that just die in the wind because they've got no marketing department over there. So Correia is moving over to Arc Press, and of course, he's also announced that he's not going to be working on Monster Hunter International for the next couple of years, which is kind of shocking. So he's got nothing coming up for Monster Hunter International in the near future. Baen Books probably doesn't have anything on that front till at least 2027. And he has this coming out, which is called American Paladin, which sounds strikingly similar to Monster Hunter International. And look, it's a monster in a crosshairs. Interesting. It's monster hunting. Best-selling creator of Monster Hunter International. So this is what they got going on. So this is what Larry announced on X. He said, I've got a new series I'm doing for Arc Press, American Paladin. This is my take on the whole lone vigilante genre. It also is a contemporary fantasy with monsters and supernatural elements. It's set in the western U.S. Main story takes place in 2022. What can I tell you about it? Imagine a country boy ends up missing in a 411 case, survives, decides to wage a one-man war against the forces of extra-dimensional evil, except for he can find them. Again, he might as well take out his anger on a regular human bad guys who he'd normally get away with. And when the monsters do show up again, we get to play cowboys versus Aztecs. Interesting. The series name works on multiple levels. I can't wait for you guys to read this one. And this is where it gets really interesting. Arc is doing something unique for launch. There will be a regular outline bookstore distribution, but they're also doing a Kickstarter. It's going to have a bunch of special stuff in it, including a graphic novel set in the same universe, written by me and drawn by Alex Wisner. And there's a link below where you can sign up for the Arc's mailing list to stay informed. Interesting stuff right here. getting in on graphic novels, getting in on Kickstarter. As much as this is saying it's unique, this is stuff that people have been doing for a lot of years, and Larry's kind of late to the party here. But because he was trapped with Baen Books, he really wasn't able to do anything on that front, and that's why being with a new press is a big deal here. Now, Arc Press is also funded by Peter Thiel, the PayPal guy who is a billionaire who's actually funding a lot of small presses under the umbrella of Passage Press, which has caused a lot. Now, I heard internally, again from Baen Books insiders, that Peter Thiel attempted to buy Baen Books a year or two ago, and of course, with that, that Baen Books declined that offer for him to buy, and that's kind of what caused this onus for him to just kind of start his own. On top of that, I heard that Larry Correia brought this book to Baen Books, and that Baen Books declined it. So I don't know if the matter is a level of advance they couldn't pay for, or what happened there, or the reasoning behind that, but it's very interesting on that level. But this is very much a Monster Hunter International-like series. If you ask Grok, so does this sound similar? American Paladin series, as announced, shares some thematic and stylistic DNA with his popular MHI series. Also carves out its own niche with a lone vigilante focus. So basically the difference between the two is instead of an organization, it's a single vigilante. And so you got a contemporary fantasy setting, monsters and supernatural threats, action-oriented storytelling, grounded protagonist in a blue-collar vibe, a humor and pop culture nods, modern U.S. settings, and themes of fighting evil there, much like Monster Hunter International. So this is going to be Monster Hunter International, only not, which is kind of interesting on that front. Now, on the other interesting front, of course, AI has been making leaps and bounds with just how good the writing is that's coming out of it. And it's very, very good at imitating styles and the like. So with Claude, Opus, and Sonnet 4.0, we've seen just this major upgrade in the way that it handles things. And if somebody actually gives some good prompts and understands the storylines, it does pretty well. Now, what I found here, coming from the Sigma Game Substack, is there's been a Monster Control Inc. out there that's been, this is the 15th chapter in a serialized novel that's going up on here. And as you can see, there's a Native American theme, just like is being talked about, Cowboys versus Aztecs here on this. And it's very similar to Correia's prose style. Before Diane Preston could respond with her husband entered the kitchen, Gregory Preston was tall, fit for his age, which I guess would be the mid-50s, silver hair, and confident of bearing someone well accustomed to being the most important individual in any room. "You're the Indian specialist," he asked, extending a hand first to Redfeather, and with me. His grip was firm, and then his border aggressive. "Greg Preston, sorry about the wait. Quarterly projections wait for no man, not even ghosts." He chuckled at his own joke. Very similar to the way that Larry's accountant protagonist, who's a Larry's Correia stand-in, talks in Monster Hunter International as well. "I'm not going to lie. I despised him on sight." Mr. Preston, Redfeather said respectfully, "Your wife was just describing the apparition she saw." "Right. The ghost," Greg made air quotes. "Look, I'm skeptical about all this, but my wife is genuinely frightened, and admittedly, there's been some strange incidents I can't easily explain away." It goes on here, and there's a bunch of these. Here's the first 14 chapters. If you do want to go find Monster Control Incorporated, as it starts here. It starts out with, "I've been walking my crush home since last week to protect her from all sorts of creeps walking around. Next week, I'm going to introduce myself to her." Very funny stuff like that. And it builds from there. So who did this better? Well, you can go onto Sigma Game and read this yourself. Read Monster Control Inc. and see what you think. You can also read American Paladin and see if this does Monster Hunter better than Monster Hunter. It's interesting to see. Now, based on reading this myself, I'm going to conclude that the AI is better than some of the weaker Monster Hunter novels that Larry's actually put out himself. It's better than some of his collaborators, especially the Sarah Hoyt one. That was a disaster. It's not as good as Larry's best novels from what I've seen, and it's not as good as the John Ringo collaborations either. So interesting that AI's progressed so far already in so short of a time, and very interesting that he's making these giant moves. This is a big upending of the industry. I'm surprised not more people are reporting on it, because Larry getting out of Baen Books and Baen Books continuing on its spiral where it's really not selling a lot of stuff is a huge, huge deal and a huge shakeup in science fiction and fantasy as far as what's going on in the publishing industry. But we cover all that here, even if nobody else does. This is where you find the fun topics, guys. So I'm glad you're here. Please hit the like and subscribe button and join us. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about Larry Correia or Larry Correia? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Please, guys, get on my newsletter. Check out my books. We have some wonderful books coming out later this summer, and I can't wait to get those out to you. Support my stuff in the description below. We're building a beautiful independent network here of real fun science fiction and fantasy, and that's what we're doing. Thanks for the community. We'll be back.